Hello everybody at the Truro and Penwith College. My name's Jon Goddard and I offer mindfulness classes for people around Cornwall. I currently offer mindfulness classes in Stithians at the Stithian Centre, and I also do a free meditation on a Monday night. Over the years that I've been doing this, I've worked with people from various different backgrounds. I've worked with mental health charities, in high schools and also private hospitals. So I'm here to just share a little bit of what I do with you. It might be 45 minutes, an hour, and just to see if anything that I offer might be of interest to you in the future. But if not, just maybe having an hour where you can maybe learn some new techniques that maybe you haven't used before, as a way of relieving maybe stress, anxiety, or whatever it is in your life that you might find you need relief from at the moment. So it's rather unusual for me to be doing this, doing a recording. I'm used to doing things face to face, and it usually involves a lot of interaction. So I try to make sure that the classes that I do, no matter how many people are there, are quite catered to the people that are in the room. Get a lot of feedback and make sure that everybody gets what they need. So I'm going to try my best to give you guys what I think you might need. Obviously, I've never met you, and I can never know that for certain. But I have noticed some patterns, let's say, over the last however many years that I've been working with people. I've been very lucky that I've been allowed into the life of a lot of different people. They've obviously trusted me enough to share things with me, and it's been, well, I feel so lucky really that I've been able to do that, because for me, my passion is really to help people to feel as happy and healthy as possibly can. I also offer personal training and fitness classes as well. So for me, my purpose in life just feels totally fulfilled when I'm just help somebody in a very small way, maybe to feel a little bit better today than what they did yesterday. But yes, the biggest sort of theme, let's say, that I notice throughout most people that I work with is that we want to relieve stress, anxiety. Some people might even suffer from depression. So I'm hoping that today's session might help you with those things. There's very few people now that aren't suffering from a little bit or a lot maybe of stress. You know, given the current circumstances, we're going through some very challenging times. We're in sort of new territory, if you like. We're experiencing things that we've never experienced before, and that can be very scary for all of us. So I want you to know, even though you might be sort of watching this on your own, however you feel, I can sort of guarantee you somebody else feels the same way as you right now, and somebody's definitely felt that way in the past. When I do a group of people that come and see me, they're always shocked that the people around them have felt the same way. But we're in our own little world, in our own little head, and we think it's only us that's feeling this way. But it's nice to know that there are other people out there that feel the same way, and it's not your fault. You know how people feel at the moment. Our levels of stress doesn't mean that we're weak in any way, or there's no blame that you can place on yourself. It's just a product of our current environment. So for me, many years ago, I used to do a completely different job to this. It was completely almost the polar opposite. I used to play rugby for a living, and as I got to the end of my rugby time, getting towards the age of 30, I decided I wanted to bring that to an end. And in many ways, that was nice. It was kind of liberating. I was freeing myself of John, the rugby player, the character, the identity that I had, which was kind of nice. And there was, it was good in some ways, but also I felt a sense of worry about how I was going to pay the bills, worrying about who am I. The biggest question anybody has is who am I, and I did struggle for a while. So that's when I went down the route of studying many people who you might consider wise, from the past and currently. You know, I take a lot of inspiration from people like Eckhart Tolle and Wayne Dyer. There were people that I would really recommend you look up. You can find a lot of their stuff out there for free. You know, Jon Goddard, who pretty much brought modern day mindfulness to the world, well, to the Western world. And so, yeah, I've been pretty much a bookworm and obsessed with different ways of becoming effectively as contented with your day-to-day life as possible, regardless of what that day-to-day life may entail. And I, like most people, used to be very reliant on my external circumstances to make me happy. So if things were going well, in inverted commas, what I considered to be well, then I would be happy for a while. And then when things don't go so well, I would be upset. And, you know, life's not going to always hand happiness to us on the plate. And when I started to really look into mental health and go down often spiritual paths as well, I realized that I could be happy, could be at peace, I could be content, even though everything around me wasn't particularly great in many people's eyes. I started to become the happiest I've ever felt in my life, but I had no good reason to feel that way. And I'm hoping that some of the things I can share with you now are going to highlight how, even for the briefest of moments in this next hour or 45 minutes that we do, regardless of, you know, what you might call your life is showing you right now, we can have moments where we feel a sense of peace, contentment, or just even feel okay. And for you at the moment, this feeling okay might be a really positive thing, because you might not have felt okay for a long time. Now, where mindfulness comes into that is that, so if you were to ask another mindfulness practitioner what mindfulness is, or you were to read a book about mindfulness, I mean, the word mindfulness is just kind of used all the time now, isn't it? It's popular, which is great, but then that label can often be not so beneficial, because we can think we know what mindfulness is. We might read a book, we might see something on TV, and we kind of almost put it in a box, and we can think of it as being just some kind of fancy technique to feel a little bit better. But I find that in the years that I've been you know, presenting it to people and applying it to my own life, I feel that it goes so much deeper than that. And for me, mindfulness is effectively like going back home. So we got here, and we came here, it was perfect. You know, we arrived in a baby's body, and we would be more inclined at that stage to be very present. We would be aware of our surroundings. You'll notice if you look at a child, they're fascinated by everything. Everything's new, everything's fresh. Very similar to the way that when we go on holiday to a new destination, we really enjoy it, because it's completely brand new, seeing everything for the first time. And what it does is it kind of forces us to be present. And all these years that we've been doing things that we enjoy, you know, we might enjoy sports, we might enjoy dancing, we might enjoy playing music, whatever it might be, they all, when we look closely, have something in common. They're all very good things for helping us to be present and focus in this moment. And when we're focused, when we're present, we've got so much of our attention placed on this moment that our mind, that so often wanders into a future that doesn't exist, or into a past that also doesn't exist, and it certainly doesn't exist anymore. And when we do that, we often create images of things that we don't want. And when we think about what we don't want, we don't feel very good inside. So becoming a person that spends more time in the present moment, although it sounds like a cliche, is you more often experiencing your natural state of well-being. It is natural for you to feel a state of well-being, regardless of how often at the moment you're feeling sense of stress and anxiety. Stress and anxiety is a product of the mind. So stress, in its sort of original form, its original reason for being there, it's quite a beneficial thing. So when I was, well, not when our ancestors were kind of cavemen or what have you, they would be, going about their daily business, and they might be under attack suddenly from a tiger, let's say, or some wild animal, and the stress hormone that's released in our body is very useful. It makes us stronger, it makes us faster, we respond in a way we're more alert, and this is something that has a great use, and we would have used it to fight off some tiger or whatever it might be, and then it's over with. We'd move on, and it served its purpose and back to our normal life. But in today's world, you'll notice the things that trigger that exact same kind of response within us seem to be everywhere. You turn on the news, you watch a scary movie. There's a million things that seem to be stress-inducing. So yeah, one of the steps we could take is to minimise those things. You might think, life's stressful enough as it is without me bombarding myself with more and more things that trigger it. But there's also something we can do within, which is to, I'm going to show you some techniques right now, and when we apply them, we can, like I said, we can rest in that space of contentment, possibly what you might call inner peace more often, going back home. But also when moments of stress arise, we can really see them for what they are. So often we get stressed, we react to it, and you might say we've been conditioned to react to it. So I've been here for nearly 40 years now, and my conditioning, the way that I react to things and the habits that I have, might be that I might get angry, I might kick something, I might kick the cat, or I might shout at my partner, or whatever it might be, or I might get stuck in my own head and I might think about something over and over again for the rest of the day and keep going over it, and it just makes it feel worse and worse and worse. And the way that you've been conditioned as a person is open to change. So often people feel that they can't change. It's just who I am. It's just who I am, John. There's nothing I can do about it. Somebody might even say, I'm depressed. I'm a depressed person. Now, we might take on the character, the identity of being a depressed person. Now, when someone comes to see me, often they're halfway there, feeling better because they've taken that step to walk into the room. But often, if I'm just talking to somebody, maybe a friend or so on, they feel that almost any solution is unavailable to them because they are depression, they are a stressed person. But I want you to know that is just your conditioning. It's the way that your life has taught you to react and respond the way that your mind's continually done what it's done for all these years. Maybe even it's from a lot of experiences that you've had in the past. You might have had a traumatic childhood. You might have been in the military. You might have been in a war zone. These are things that program us, but it can be unprogrammed. Now, only when we shine the light of our conscious awareness on these things can we firstly see them for what they are. So the first thing you might notice after today's exercises or during today's exercises is how busy the mind is. It can be quite alarming at first, but I want to know that's normal. But also when you take that into your daily life, you can start to really be present with emotions that you feel. You can start to be present with the thoughts that are in your head, and you might connect the dots. You might realize that those thoughts that I was thinking a moment ago now make me feel this way, and we get in a cycle where we think our way into feeling unpleasant emotions, and then those unpleasant emotions kind of taint the next thoughts that arise. If we're not feeling in a good state, you'll notice our thoughts become very negative in nature, and it's like we're completely not our normal self. But that's because one is creating the other. But by being present, we can stop very peacefully and gently bring that cycle to a close and become present with the emotions, with the thoughts, we become present with our surroundings as well. And then maybe the simplest things in life can bring us great joy. And never now more than ever, we need those simple things to be something that we can feel content with. All the complex things that we used to do, all the fancy things that we used to go and do that we thought made us happy. Now we don't have those at this moment in time anyway. So it'd be nice to come out of all this period that we're in, where we feel so much more empowered that there's nothing out there that anybody can take away from us. We don't need anything or anyone else. We can go within, or we could go for a walk in nature, for example, and feel totally at peace. Because we're there, we're experiencing it, we're immersed in it like never before. And the world can feel new and fresh and alive in a way that it felt when we was kids, maybe. Okay, so that first little exercise is just a kind of a little introduction to something I call SBBS. So I just call it that, so that when you guys go away after this session, you can remember what it is. So the first S stands for sounds, then the B is for body, the second B is for breath, and the final S is for sight, or stillness and sight. So this is just a way of, you could do this every morning if you like. As you wake up in the morning, we have often we have the urgency just to jump out of bed and jump straight to whatever it is that we're going to do. Our mind might be buzzing with lots and lots of things. If you throw in a little bit of SBBS, you might find that the dust just settles a little bit, and we can start the day at our pace, on our terms, rather than feeling completely pushed into life and life's jobs and tasks by this uncontrollable urge to get things done. You'll know yourself, we just want to get things done. It's all about doing, isn't it? But here we're stepping into a state of being, and then we can take that state of being into the world of doing stuff. So okay, so if you want to just make sure that you're sat in a position where you feel comfortable, and it might be nice to have your feet flat on the floor, your hands in your arms just resting on your legs, your body kind of upright in your chair, but not stiff. So you're relaxed, but you're alert. So I like to call it sitting with dignity. You all kind of know what that means. So now, I'd like to keep your eyes open, and just for a moment, start to notice the sounds around you. And you may notice, just with your eyes open, things distract you, mind wanders. So now, take a nice deep breath in, and as you breathe out, just gently close your eyes, sinking down into the body. Very relaxed with your breathing, relaxing that breath down to its natural rhythm, in and out through your nose. And then just try again, noticing sounds, allowing sounds to come to you. And notice the difference between thinking about the sounds that you notice and simply noticing them. So you may hear a car go by, you may hear a bird, and our mind has a real tendency to judge. Normal. Might judge that the sound of the car is not quite as nice as the sound of the bird. But I'd like to treat all sounds equally. Just notice. And don't worry if the mind wanders off. That's totally normal. But when you notice that the mind has wandered, you just return back to sound. And now in that same non-judgmental way, I'd like you to notice the body. You may notice the weight of the body. You may simply notice the sensation of touch, where your feet are in contact with the floor, your hands are in contact with your legs, and your body in contact with the chair. Just hold those sensations gently in your awareness. Very alert to the mind, noticing when it wanders, and just returning back to the body. You may notice different sensations in the body, maybe stiffness in your lower back, maybe pain in your knees, whatever it is that you're feeling right now. Rather than adding thought to it and wishing it was different, just notice. And now that you're aware of the body, you may already begin to notice the breath. There's a gentle rise and fall of the chest and stomach that you may notice. There's the cool air coming in your nose and the warm air coming out. You may even notice the sound of the breath. I'd like you just to be aware of that breath for a moment. We have to be very kind to ourselves throughout this exercise or any exercise. Because it's not our fault if the mind wanders off. It's been thinking a lot throughout our life. That's what it likes to do. So don't get too frustrated with yourself if the mind wanders and you miss a few breaths. It's fine. But when you notice, you just gently return back to this breath without any pressure to be present with every breath. Just focus on this one for a moment. Okay. And then now, finally, I'd like you, without really moving, just to take one final deep breath in. And then as you breathe out, open your eyes. Without really moving, just notice the room around you. Maybe you can notice a sense of stillness around you. Maybe that stillness connects with a sense of stillness within you. You can just have a shuffle around if you like now. So whatever you notice then, try to know that it's okay, it's normal in effect. So some of you may have had an experience there where your mind felt very clear for quite extended periods of time. Some of you might have felt like the mind was just constantly on the go, and no matter how much you attempted to focus on this moment, it just kept sweeping you away. But this is something that doesn't mean you're broken in any way. It doesn't mean that you cannot do this, or meditation is not for you, or mindfulness is not for you. You might have had a period in your life where your mind's been very active. Your job even might be something that involves a lot of mental activity. But with practice, step by step, just showing up, if you like. If one thing you took from today was that you did that exercise every day, maybe you forget one day, maybe you do it every other day. The more you throw it in there, the more you're just showing up for the exercise without any expectations, and you may find that the gaps in the stream of thinking appear just for tiny little moments to begin with, and then those gaps get bigger and bigger, and you start to realize that you can be present, but it can take time. And like I said before, if any of you out there are feeling you really are struggling at the moment, I do offer things on Zoom for one-to-one mindfulness and meditation. Even sometimes I work with couples and so on. But I can also do things in person. Throughout the whole of this last year, because I offer what you class as a support group and mental health services, people can come and meet me in person. We do all the social distancing and so on, and we use a big room in the studying centre. We take all the usual steps that most businesses that are open have to take. But if you feel like you need something more personal, you can come and see me. My wife runs a place called the Wellness Hub in Studians, which is a kind of a wellness centre, if you like. It's one room, and we hire it out to practitioners who offer maybe massage therapy, or I do mindfulness there, and I even do personal training there. So don't feel like you have to kind of suffer in silence on your own. And if you want to contact me, you can go on to mindfulnessfitness.co.uk, and there's a contact form on there. Or if you want to contact me direct through email, my email address is jongoddard@posteo.net. So JONGODDARD@posteo.net. So I just thought at this stage just pause just to let you know whatever you just experienced is okay, and I'm here to help you in any way that I can. Okay, so so that's the little introduction, SBBS, and I'd like to maybe now finish with a fairly long meditation. It's quite amazing how much time's just gone by already. We've probably done about at least half an hour. But in fact, I probably won't finish that. I might do a little bit more. We'll see. We'll see what I'm doing. So, okay. So, what I'd like us to do now is a very small little step, and I'd like you now just to take another deep breath in. Close your eyes as you breathe out, and rather than trying to focus on sounds, the body, the breath, instead of trying to focus on this moment, I'd like you now to focus on thought. Be very alert to the next thought. Alert, aware, not trying to run away from thoughts, just waiting for that next thought to arrive. Take a deep breath in and opening your eyes again. So in many ways, like I've heard that described before, like you're alert like a cat waiting for a mouse to come out of a mouse hole. Now, I purposely didn't say that in the exercise because often when I say that, people say, all I can think about afterwards was the mouse and the cat. So, but that's the kind of alertness that we're after there. So I don't know what you experienced there, but often it can be surprising for people because they've been spending so much time kind of running away from the mind. You know, we may find that our mind's so busy that we just want to put the TV on to distract ourselves. We might just want to put the radio on. We might want to have constant noise going off around us because the voice in our head is so persistent that we'd like to drown it out sometimes. But rather than running away from that mind, when we turn and face it and we say, okay, you know, give me your best shot, what have you got? And you face the mind and look it square in the eye, often it freezes and it's got nothing. You might not have experienced that, you may have experienced that, but it can often, that little tiny exercise can highlight how our alert attention is the thing that keeps us kind of, we take our power back, if you like, from the mind. So the mind, when we're unconscious, effectively, we're not asleep, but we are not alert, let's say, the mind does with us what it wants. It takes us on journeys that we didn't ask to go on. You know, we all know what that feels like. You find yourself thinking about something and you might think, why did I start thinking about this? And the chain of events that led to that moment, the chain of thoughts that led to that thought, is truly mind-blowing. It's unbelievable. You might see something, you might see a car that goes past your house, and it reminds you of a car that a friend had many years ago. And before you know it, you think about that friend. But that thought, those thoughts can very quickly turn into negative thoughts, and we can start to have a negative, unpleasant energies in our body simply by imagining something. So the body doesn't actually know the difference really between something that's actually happening or something that we're just vividly imagining. So it responds in the same way. So turning and facing the mind is often a real key thing to start doing. And you might want to start to release distractions from your life. When you start to feel a bit more comfortable with, okay, sitting in this moment isn't so bad, you might decide when you get in the car, you don't put the radio on straight away. You have 5 or 10 minutes where you're just aware of your surroundings. So that's when mindfulness and meditation gets applied to your life. You know, you might be in your kitchen doing the washing up, and you might decide, rather than having the radio on in the background or having the TV on and having your attention split constantly between two things, you decide to give your attention fully to the washing up. And then suddenly washing up doesn't seem so bad. It's not such an inconvenience anymore. You're using it as a mindful activity, a reason, a way of helping you be present. So, you know, that can apply to so many things. Walking down the street, you could have your headphones in. You might be missing the world around you, which might feel nice at times to just kind of feel like you're escaping. But when you take your headphones out and you're aware of your footsteps, you might be aware of your breathing, you might be aware of the sounds around you. Suddenly, you become a lot more present, and the whole experience might be then more enjoyable. You know, our natural state, like I said earlier, is one of well-being. Okay, so now what you might find is that a lot of the stress that we've been releasing in our body, the stress hormone that's been kind of pumped through our body over and over again over time, takes a lot of undoing. So it's almost like you need to unravel it and take it out of there. And one exercise at a time, slowly, kind of one baby step at a time, and help release that old stress that's hanging around. So I'm going to do meditation now. That's a little bit longer than the SPBS and the other exercise we just did. And hopefully it's going to help you to kind of give your body that moment that it needs to just let go. You know, we can let go. We let go with our mind, you know, maybe of things that we don't like. where modern day stress usually comes from, the resisting things. You know, you might say, I've got a stressful job, or you might say that your college work is stressful. But is it? Or is it the fact that I am resisting it that's the real source of stress? So that constantly resisting things, constantly wishing things were different to the way that they are, is a kind of a build-up of stress over and over again, day after day. It kind of lives in our body. We don't let it out. We don't let it go. So hopefully this little exercise is a way of letting it out. So the great thing about this that we're doing now is that you've got this recording. You can use this whenever you want. You might want to skip to this meditation some other time. And you can even use this, sometimes this can be very beneficial to do when you're laid in bed, or you might be laid on the sofa, or when you lay down doing this, you can really let go of your body. So if you want to lay down now, you can do. Just obviously make sure that you can still hear me okay. But it can also be done seated. All right, so I'd like you to set yourself up in the same way that we did before. So you've put yourself in a position where you feel relaxed, foot alert. So like I said, either lying down, making sure that you're in a position where you could lay there for a good 5 or 10 minutes and not have to move around and shuffle too much. Okay. So with those eyes open, I'd like you to have a soft gaze. So you're not really focusing on any one thing. You're aware of the space either side, above and below. And then begin to lengthen the breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Being sure that your stomach is involved just as much as your chest. And already, as you breathe out with that nice long out breath, you may notice the body beginning to soften. It's already beginning to let go. Taking that out breath loud and long. And on the next out breath, you can just gently close your eyes, sinking down even further into the body, and allowing the body to breathe itself at its natural rhythm, in and out through your nose. So you're not trying to breathe. The breath is happening to you. And now, just turning your attention to the sensation of touch. Noticing the different points of contact between your body and the floor, or the chair, or your bed. Maybe feeling the weight of your body. And now, turning your attention to sounds. And rather than chasing after sounds, allow sounds to come to you. Almost as if you've opened a door and the sounds come flooding to you. Or you've opened a window and those sounds come into your awareness without you having to search for them. And thoughts may arise. That's okay. Just returning back to sound. And now taking your attention into the body, but paying particular attention to your feet. So you're just placing your attention in that area. But we're now going to add the breath. So we're going to notice the breath on our feet, and we're going to use the out breath to let go. So for the next few out breaths, just let go of any tension and really feel the weight of your feet. And now for the next few out breaths, let go of the muscles of your calves. Feeling heavier with every out breath, letting go. And now taking your attention into the upper half of your legs, into your thighs, and with each out breath, allowing them to relax and let go. Now taking your attention into the pelvis area and your lower back and your stomach. An area that often might feel tension or even pain. So instead of resisting that, you're just allowing the out breath to let it go. Moving up to the center of your back and just below your ribs, letting go with the out breath. And now moving into your chest and your upper back. Now into your shoulders, a place that often holds tension. It can be hanging around. We could be holding ourselves in that place of tension without even realizing. So just place your awareness in that area, and with the out breath, letting go. Now moving your awareness down into your hands, feeling the weight of your hands with each out breath. Taking your attention now into your forearms, between your elbows and your wrists. For the next few out breaths, being aware of your upper arms. And now returning to the shoulders again. and then into your neck. With each out breath, letting go. And now, moving your attention into the muscles of your face and head. Another place where we often hold tension, but you can just allow those muscles to let go, feeling how heavy they are with every out breath. Feeling the muscles around your eyes, your cheeks, your head, just letting go. Relaxing the jaw. And now just notice your whole body. Notice how deeply relaxed and at peace it is. And now just turning your attention to the breath. That breath that happens all by itself. No need to control it in any way. But you may find that it helps to silently count the breath. So you can count 1 as you breathe in, 2 as you breathe out, and just keep counting the breath all the way to 10 before starting again at 1. And if the mind wanders or you lose count, that's fine. Just pick up the counting where you left off. Or if you prefer, you can just be present with this breath. If the mind wanders, just come back to this breath. Without any pressure, be present with every breath. Noticing when the mind wanders, returning back to the breath. And now just let go. Let go of trying to focus on anything. Total freedom of mind. And now, just beginning to bring your awareness back into your surroundings by noticing sounds. Noticing the body, the sensation of weight, the sensation of touch. And if you like, you can just wiggle your fingers and toes now, waking that body back up. And then take a nice deep breath in and open your eyes. We've had a little shuffle around or even a stretch if you like. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. If for some reason you found some of those exercises a little bit uncomfortable, like, sometimes facing the mind is not so enjoyable, and really realise how busy our mind is, and it's quite alarming. But you know, from the experiences that I've had with lots of people that I've worked with, hundreds, probably into the thousands now, that can be, you know, helps, and over time, that feeling of discontent with the mind, or whatever the content of the mind is, can start to release. And you know, when we're doing these exercises, often I might throw in the odd statement. And one statement that seems to be quite helpful for a lot of people is, nothing needs to change for me to be at peace now. So our mind would have us believe that all the different elements of our life need to be perfect before we can be happy or be at peace. So that's just not true. The mind thinks that, but in actual fact, our natural state, when the mind is quiet, is one of peace. So hopefully you can apply that a little bit to your life today. And even if you're very, very busy, you can have little moments where you sit and you notice, or you might even be able to continue to be as you do. You know, that's kind of one of the biggest definitions of mindfulness, is to be while you do. So you can be very active in life and get many things done, but the day doesn't feel that stressful at the end. You're not obsessed with what you're going to do next. You're not obsessed with the finish line of getting everything done. You're focusing purely on this task. You might have 100 tasks, but you're focused on this one. And then this one, you focus on the next one. And the day seems to go a little bit more smoothly, less frustration builds up, and then we can actually begin to feel like we're really enjoying life again. Okay, so it's been really nice spending time with you virtually. Like I said before, if any of you want to come and see me in person, you can do, or if any of you want to book something through Zoom or whatever format you like to use for video calls, you can contact me. My website, I'll just repeat that again, is mindfulnessfitness.co.uk. If you want to visit that, you might have to put it into the search bar. It's a fairly new website, so it might not appear on the first page of Google. So if you put that into the search bar, www.mindfulnessfitness.co.uk, you'll get a lot of information there about what I offer, what I've done in the past, and fitness classes, personal training, you name it. And then also, if you just want to contact me direct with an email, it's jongoddard.jon@postio.net. And I'll be happy to speak to you as well if you want to then phone call. That's totally fine. But if not, I hope you got a lot out of this time that we just had together, and that maybe you can apply it to your life, and yeah, I hope it feels maybe a little bit better today than what we felt yesterday. All right, guys. So hopefully I'll see some of you soon in future. Bye-bye for now.